welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the beautiful landscape of Scotland. Today we're joined by Highlander 87 as a special guest here on the channel, and today we're heading into these wild lands of Glen Dye, because this is a kind of area in Scotland we've never documented before. We're about halfway over the Cairn Mount and I've pulled the car in at this wee car park. Over at the other side there's an old abandoned cottage and a croft, and I have been there on videos, but today we're punching out this little track here and we're going to document any abandoned history along the way, or any cool little buildings or ruins. You know how it is on the channel. And yeah, I think the river's been so high here at one time it's potentially washed this railing off the bridge, and you wouldn't even believe it today when you see the height of the river. Yeah, we're about to punch on up this track, and already just near the car park I can see old remains of a wall, and I think there's history dating back here in these lands for like 1700s and way before it, especially with likes of that old croft and cottage at the far side. Apparently the original cottage that was over there, it used to actually have a dirt roof on it with grass. I can hear a rat or a rodent going off its nut, eh? Squeaking. Yes, check this out folks, look at the old remains here of the building. In this whole area there's actually been an old road here coming along, or an old track, and you can see the levelled area on the hill, a bit like the new road at the lower height there. Yeah, this is incredible, look, you can see the clear remains, the old square here, and then that there as well. It's been part of a building. There's been the door, and look, things in this area is made out of the granite. Unlike other areas we explore where a lot of the buildings are sandstone, often the granite's actually a lot more hardy and it lasts far longer. The trouble is, a lot of these places were built with the lime mortar and it just disappears with the wild weather on the hills. The lime mortar often washes out, and you would actually think years later there had been dry stone walls. Yeah, it's incredible to see this. This is a wee bit of history we've never documented before on the channel. Every week I love going to cool places and heading these wee adventures into things like this. And it's like there's been a lot more along here that's actually gone now, from what I'm seeing. Wow, what a landscape folks. The grass is soaking, and today we're kind of dodging bad weather, rainstorms and the like. And it's cool just to find stuff like this, and it's cool to explore lands we've never been. We're going to punch on down this track a little bit just to see what's around and see if there's anything new. So this is a cool thing just to start off. You get an idea of the history, and think in the 1700s, like how different this would have looked when it was in its prime. Wow, real Scottish history. Anyway, this is a crazy bit to go down, eh? Oh my goodness, I think this is an old road right here, and think about it going in front of the houses and the buildings. Maybe somebody's sitting up there on a chair overlooking fields or whatever at the lower height. Yeah, this is a crazy wee bit here. So the wee ruin we just looked at, it's actually over there, and this whole area at one time has been landscaped or changed. It's like there's been a building there and the road in front of the old house building has gone as far as here, but it looks like from then on it's just like wild hill. But there is so many piles of stones, or like even natural stones on the hill, and we like to try and determine whether it's a historical ruin or something that's actually natural. And over at this side it looks like there's proper man-made walls, and I was just saying to Highlander, probably in the winter it'd be cool maybe to go on over there and explore that area, because it looks like there's been a whole croft. But it'll be easier probably in the winter to get through the forest area. This time of year everything's so overgrown and dense. Yeah, look how many remains is over there. That's crazy. We've not even walked that far today and we've seen so much, and it's history, probably 1700s at least, I would say. And it's mad to think how long ago that actually is. So we've basically walked around this road folks, probably like a mile and a half, and we've actually walked past loads of remains of old buildings and stuff that's hidden within the grass at each side of the path. It's such a nice path to walk down, because I love going places that I've never been, and around here there's just so much history that we've never seen. Even right here we can see remains of walls, and I'm going to go up and take a look at some of these. We've basically come so far up this track, and I was saying to Highlander, this is a good point to try and make it to and see what's here. and we'll document this history and see what's left. And from here we'll be able to get a great view further up the glen. Yeah, there's been so much built, and we've basically walked past so many ruins like this. It's been a proper settlement within this piece of land at a certain time, and Glen Dye is just incredible. These buildings are actually built out of the granite and things like that, and it's a completely different look that the buildings have basically. Look at that, see that big stone? It's like there's a hole going in under there. Is that an old lime kiln? I'm going to hit a punch on over here. Hey, look at this. Yeah, there's some crazy history here, folks, that we've never seen before on the channel, and that's what I absolutely love. This whole area here is quite a big settlement. It's maybe been a little, almost like a village or a farm croft, but there's been more than one house here for sure. Plus all these other little historical ruins, like this crazy thing, eh? What even is going on here? Wow, look at this, folks. There's an entrance going under the ground, and you know how it is. Whoa, look at that. That's going away under the hill. That's properly built. How crazy is that, folks? The things that we find on this channel. Let's have a look up here and see if there's any clue as to what this is. It looks different to a lime kiln, doesn't it? Yeah. What is even going on with this, folks? This is incredible. There's a secret tunnel. It could have been an outlet for maybe like water. Yeah, look, it must have been an old lime kiln. Look at the circular form here of it. And often these little crofts and communities were built with the lime kiln, using it to make their mortar, but also they used the limestone from the kiln to spread on their fields to increase their yields and to change the acid and alkali content within the soil. And this was a popular thing that was all over the country of Scotland. Look at the size of that spider web going over there. It's full of spiders, but look how incredibly kept this is. And look how nature takes back over.
I've never really seen one where the hole isn't blocked up.
Aye, the entrance to that is just mad to see. That's why coming into these lands off and on wee adventures, it's like coming into fairy tale lands. You don't even know what you're going to find, and then it's like boom, a secret entrance like leading under the hill. And look, this is a wee building here at one time. Like I said earlier in the video, sometimes the limestone mortar gets washed out of these structures and it almost looks dry stone, but that's the very type of kiln they would have actually been cooking up the limestone with to make their mortar for these walls. That's why that was often the first buildings they built at these places. Look at that, eh? There's been so many wall remains here leading all around. Tiny little buildings, this little rectangle, and then those little rectangles there. The wind is quite extreme here, folks, but we're just documenting the history. Look at the valley, we've basically come round there, and look, there's more buildings at that side. Clear outlines of structures, and then that road basically keeps on punching on. Maybe in a future adventure we'll go up there and have a look. Look, over at this side there's another croft. By that big tree there's actually remains of what must have been another cottage. And there's just so much the whole way up this valley, and it probably keeps on going. And like I say, when we walked in there was other remains as well like this, little buildings and ruins, and there's been so many communities and stuff up here that's just totally gone now. And it was most likely around the time of the Highland clearances and stuff that places like this got taken over or destroyed. The land has just been forgotten. That is kind of the era of the building we're looking at today. I'm thinking about going over to that one. We'll have a wee look, because there's quite a complete structure over there as well. And it's interesting the way this one is built here by this natural ridge in the land. Look, there's more remains down there as well. Wow, what a crazy scene of Scotland. The way this is built, there's actually a ridge at this side, and the whole thing has been landscaped when it was built first time around. Yeah, let's pop on over here. See the wind coming, folks? It's because of the stormy conditions. One minute it's sunny, then it's windy, then it gets dark and you think, oh, it's away to rain, and then the sun comes out again. So it's just one of these days. We're just making the most of our opportunities. Look at these massive chunks of granite, which are obviously, this is what's known in like Aberdeenshire and stuff like that red granite or whatever in the ground. Yeah, I think I'm going to pick the easiest route over to this. The least overgrown route. We're always wary of ticks and stuff like that. That's how we didn't go into overgrown terrain at this time of the year. Yeah, there's a wee path almost here that must be maybe from people coming over for a look. There's that entranceway leading into the underhill, which is just crazy to see and to think about. Yeah, look at this over here, folks. I'm going over for a look because this is quite a complete building, and I believe the old remains of that track comes along there from the lime kiln. You can see the edge of it, and then there's more stone remains here. Yeah, I just love coming into landscapes, folks, and showing you history that's never been recorded on my channel. And I love uncovering the history as I go, seeing what was done at an ancient time for people's survival out in these lands. It was a completely different culture. They had different worries and different needs. Different buildings served them for their purposes of the time. And when I explore, I try and imagine that time. I try and imagine what it was like. What were the people thinking about when they were in their house here looking out into their wee field or their little house garden. Yes, we've made it to this wall line. Never seen before on the channel, folks. And I'm just taking a look down now for ticks and stuff crawling about on me. Horrible. There's so many beasties and things. I'm properly risking it when I come into lands like this. But I just always want to see the history and document things that I've never seen. So with a building like this, it looks like it has been a house. Whereas some of the other buildings you get at the farms were obviously sheds or industrial buildings almost. Like for that lime kiln over there was maybe a hut or whatever that was almost like an office for the operation of the place. And this has been a fair size, really well constructed. But like I say, the harsh weather conditions that these places put up with is the thing that washes out all the limestone mortar over the years. The atmosphere in a glen like this is crazy as well. When you hear that dark grey sky in the background. Look at this, the door has come in. There's been two little rooms here, and then this has been another single little room at the back. Maybe even a bedroom or whatever. Which is interesting to see. The construction, the shape of it, it's almost like you can imagine it as a cottage. And often these houses, they actually had mud roofs. That's how long ago we're talking. Or like earth and sometimes wood and stuff like that on the roofs. Yeah, I'm going to pop over this way. I'm just trying to get back to the track now from the best angle. There's been the front door. And there we are documenting that madness. And one's going to pop up here. Here's Highlander coming down the way. He's just checked out the wall, I think, at the other side of the road. It's amazing to imagine these places back in like the 1700s and stuff when they were thriving. Imagine the community or the people that was probably going up and down this road, maybe herding sheep and cattle. Look at this over here, there is faint remains of a wall. We'll have a quick look at it. Is that a water hydrant sign? So there's maybe modern day underwater pipes right there which flow under this land. Yeah, look at this. Here is remains of a wall. See, this is like a square or like a rectangle, I mean, which is super interesting. Yeah, so it is weird. See, this has been a little building, and then that there has been a wall line going across. Probably just like another little house with a little field, because this looks like it's been house-like here, and then the wall line of their field often made the most of the little piece of land that they had. And it is super interesting to see. A lot of this is so overgrown just now, it's just crazy to explore. The grass and the ferns and stuff is like knee high or more, and we're just kind of picking our way through it. In another month or two it'll be so overgrown it'll be unreal, and then in the winter it'll die back and become more explorable. And that's why today it's been so cool to record the stuff we've seen. It's been a mad wee adventure seeing this stuff, and it's amazing each week to keep finding things like that that we didn't even know existed. Look at this thistle. Check it out, look at the top of that, folks. the way that grows. It's the flower of Scotland, the thistle, and it has to stand up to these wild, harsh environments that the people in these glens settled in at the ancient times. Wow, just think how much this land may have changed as well since the times when this was in its prime. Maybe the hills weren't so sparse and bare, but more shrub-like and bushy, maybe more trees, and sometimes they just cleared a bit of land in the middle of that to build places like this. It's like there's been a wee bridge over at the far side as well. And maybe they would also have fishing as well at the time of this little settlement. It's so much fun often to theorise, and when you see the buildings it really brings it to life. You get an idea of how much things have changed over the years. Check out this paradise scene here, folks. We've punched right around the track and we're at the far side of the hill once again, down at the side of the hill that we started at. And we're down beside this old remains of the cottage and stuff that we first looked at on today's video. And it was so much fun to go around that hill and to see what we saw with that old lime kiln, and it's in pristine condition, covered over just from the grass and nature. You can still see the round form of the stonework, and then all the other wee buildings, little houses or cottages, little farm crofts or remains of buildings from such ancient times. Most likely 1700s and before it. And back at that time, this road here was probably how most main roads looked in Scotland. Just a little track making its way through such wild lands, and little communities along the way making themselves a living or making themselves a little settlement with a little farm. It's so cool on this channel to go to those sort of remote places and document them for the world to see. But I'm going to end this one here because we're almost back to the car. So thanks very much for watching. I'll be back soon with the next one. Goodbye for me, goodbye for Highlander 87. We'll see you soon, folks.